Welcome to the Warehouse of Words! Greetings, fellow friends. Welcome back again to the Humanities, the side project of the Twin Humanities. I think that's right. My name is Paddy. I am the ginger one. Friend, who are you?
I am CJ. I am the one wracked with plague. I'm the one that currently sounds like a small child has been fused with a pensioner and locked in a coffin of Tupperware.
Yes, he's not in a small box. He's actually just bunged up.
I'm over the worst of it now, but it's been a Christmas where I've been working lots and I've been tremendously ill. So even the games that I have picked up, I haven't been able to really delve into. So the next episode is going to be sort of a bit more. What have you been playing?
What did you get for Christmas?
Hey, what have you been playing? Well, thanks, man. I'm glad you asked. These are the games that I've been playing.
Oh dear.
ZOM of G, we'll be covering that right after Britney Spears.
Well, we hope you've all had a lovely Christmas, and we hope you're all looking forward towards the new year. Depending on when this goes up, it might already be New Year. In which case, did you have a nice New Year? Tell us. We like to listen. We won't answer you. We might answer you. But we're doing today. Last week we did our Game of the Year show. We picked our games of the year. And I had a lot of fun. I enjoyed picking them out. And we thought what we'd do this week is we'd do the games of next year. Because, you know, we're gonna pick what the best game of the year for next year is now. Because we can probably work it out. We're smart guys. Yeah, let's pick the best game of the year next year. Easy. I've got about 5 that I've written down as candidates. How many are you looking forward to? How many games have you got? Have you written anything down, or are you coming this bareback, as it were?
I got to 5. 5 is a little bit of a question mark with me because this 5 is a game. This is almost like a lead into it anyway. But 5 is a game I have history with, but there's something else that's nibbling at number 5, which is a real curiosity, and I don't know a lot about it, but the two are kind of wrestling one another in my mind as to whether they should be on the podium, should we say? I'm going to jump into the history.
Yeah, because I need to know what this is now. It's driving me nuts.
Okay, the history one is Destiny.
Okay.
It seems like it was 1 billion years ago that it was announced now.
I'd forgotten all about Destiny.
and even longer since sort of we saw any footage. I'm a big fan of Bungie's sort of since the Halo stuff back in the day. And I know the game is going to play well. Some of the designers are Dark Souls fans, which I think is an interesting sort of lead into the way that they're bringing other players into single player games and that sort of stuff. Martin McDonald's one of my favourite soundtrack composers, so I know the soundtrack's going to be absolutely astonishing and does sound that way from the new trailer. And I know that I know that it's going to play well, but it just seems like such a long time ago that it was announced, and everybody I think thought it was going to be January, then April. I think it's like September now.
Almost. Well, I was thinking it would be very early Q1 when it was first announced. Like, brilliant, great.
And it's September now, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, on the one hand, I'd rather they get it right, and I think it's a good sign that they are being that specific. And there's the beta in June, I think.
Something like June, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's a good thing, but it just seems like such a long time ago since we heard anything about it, and they're being quite cagey on the lore and the specifics. I love the promo art. I think the promo art is stunning. But I don't know, this tear in the fabric of my reality with regards to the history I have with the company, but it just seems to have kind of wallowed a little bit with regards to the way that it's been introduced to the press, to people, and it just seems to be a little bit lost at the minute.
Maybe, and this is pure speculation, maybe it's because for the first game they've done in years, they've not got the Microsoft money train behind them, putting it on Mountain Dew bottles and adverts. And
I think they've got the Activision money behind them. I think that Activision are kind of are sort of putting a lot of faith in this, especially with the dwindling Call of Duty numbers as there are. So I think Activision have kind of seemingly backed them quite well and said, when it's ready, it's ready. They don't seem to be forcing them out the door with it. As to whether that's going to be the case in future installments.
Yeah. See, that's my only real qualm and worry I have for Destiny is that this is completely idiot thinking of mine, but it's because Activision are associated with it. I'm worried it's going to get significantly ruined after a couple of years. Because it happened with Guitar Hero and it happened with Tony Hawk, and those were things I really liked, and they crapped all over them and ruined them.
I think there's the aspect that, Microsoft pushed Bungie hard on Halo 2, I think. So, whilst not a perfect game, that still managed to be an enjoyable game. And if they are going to, I don't know, even fracture themselves off so that maybe one portion of the team does a game 1 year or one the next, or as to whether they wait every couple of years, I don't know. But going back to the Halo stuff, for me the best Halo game is Halo 3 ODST, and that was using Halo 3's engine. And so many people sort of on the outside curve just going like, oh my god, they're not updating it, oh my god, look at the price of it, oh my god. And yet it was one of the finest examples of storytelling this last gen. Had amazing characters, a superb story, the super way that it told the story, one of the greatest soundtracks I've ever heard, and possibly my number 2 of the last gen. Ooh. Certainly one of my most played games.
Yeah.
But when you've got people like sort of Nathan Fillion and stuff sort of bollocking about in it, that's always a good thing. But I like the fact that you weren't this nuclear super tank of power. You were an ordinary bloke. And I kind of dug the shit out of that. And you've fallen far away from your team in a city that was overrun by monsters. It was in a long way from home. It was raining. You had no one to turn to except for this seemingly this AI in the city that was trying to push you on. It was magnificent, and the soundtrack that went completely against the bombast of most soundtracks, and just went, there's this incredible jazz noir which just set the tone so wonderfully. It was a really brave and brilliant soundtrack. So that gives me a little bit of hope that even if they are pushed against the wall to the year on year, that sometimes when you come up to deadlines or you've got something like that, you work hard, and the decisions you make are on the fly and are snap decisions, but sometimes they're the best decisions.
Yeah, totally. Destiny.
Yeah.
If I'd have thought about Destiny, if you've actually nailed it on the head there, because they've not really been on the internet with it much, I'd forgotten all about it. It would have been on my blooming list if I'd have fucking remembered that. And while we're on it, I'll add into that one another one I've not got on the list and has just come to my head, and I'd be annoyed if I didn't mention it. The Division, I'm also rather looking forward to.
Really?
Yeah, it looks great. It looks really fun. It looks like the first trailer you see when the guy to look at his map makes a big holographic map on the floor. It's like, that's brilliant. The little touches, like when he was moving along cover on the side of a police car and he just knocks the door shut as he goes past. Like, yes, more of that, please. The way the mission system seems to be, rather than, oh, look, you have a quest in your log, it's, oh, there's noise happening over there. What's that? It just sounds like something I could probably dump quite a lot of my free time into, and just join up with a couple of mates and just knob around.
I don't know. I mean, the Division for me, I was a little bit surprised by it at E3. Those VGX awards, they just showed off the lighting system and all that
Beautiful
sort of
lighting
stuff.
systems.
Honest to God, I couldn't give a toss. But it thus far, it seems to me the aspects of Ubisoft that interest me the least, which is just the kind of communal garden real world stuff. And I'm just not that arsed about it, like Pervert Coat.
Pervert Coat. I was just about to say. Which is Watch Dogs for those that don't talk to CJ very often.
Raincat Hat Boy. It just looks like a nonsense, and it's possibly a good idea that they speculatively crap their pants when they saw Grand Theft Auto 5 and pushed the game back, because that would have gotten absolutely buried if it had released when it was intended to.
I think it really helps as well though, because they had Assassin's Creed 4 coming out at the same time. I think they've really benefited by pushing it back, so there's not going to have as much of a, because the decision you did have when you bought your PS4, whatever, do I get one or the other? Now you can get both.
But has Ass Flag, as it's been called, has Ass Flag sold that well? Because it hit the £22.50 mark sensationally quickly. I mean, I mentioned about the Need for Speed Rivals. That dropped in price so much by Christmas. I thought I was going to wake up on Christmas Day and I'd have gotten a tenner in an envelope from it.
The thing about that, I think the last gen versions have gone like that. The current gen versions, the next gen versions, should I say, the PS4, the Xbox One versions, they are still 50 quid. They haven't, and they won't for a while. They are still 50 quid.
Yeah, that's because there's not a lot out in the system, and maybe they might not be going gangbusters. All told, but there must be a steady sort of stream of sales.
Totally, totally. Well, with that, I'm gonna move on to my fifth most anticipated game for next year. My fifth most anticipated game is The Crew.
Really?
It is The Crew. I don't know what it is, and I didn't when I first saw the trailer for it. The amount of shits I gave, you could count on a hand with no fingers.
Is that the UB racing thing?
Yeah, I didn't care. I was like, oh, big fucking whoop. A racing game. Yay. It's not Burnout Paradise. I don't care. And I was more excited for Need for Speed at this point. And I watched a video. I was sitting on YouTube just dicking about, and I saw like a 15-minute, commentated by the devs video of it. And I thought, well, go on then, because I'm sort of interested in it. I thought, it looks like the sort of thing I'd play, not necessarily, adore, but the sort of thing I'd probably sit down and, enjoy. Just dick about in. And I watched the video, and I'm thinking, this looks really good. It looks really fun. Just the way that you can just really easily go, oi, John, Alan, Bob, should we go do a drive game? And they'll all go, yeah. And then you all just...
You don't know any of those people.
Shall we use our wheel engine car machines and drive after another one? Yes, let's do that. Just the way that you can just connect up with your mates, it'll just say, right, you're over there, he's over there. You can either, just warp to where you are, or you can all drive up and meet in the middle. The car customization stuff is crazy. Really cool. You basically get... So rather than just picking parts from a list and it goes, oh, you added the cool-looking front bumper, the car basically explodes out in the garage, and you can go through and kind of pick engines and wheels and trims, and you can adjust sizes and things. And it looks intricate, but not GT6 level, Gran Turismo level intricate, in that you're choosing odds and sods, but you're making it more awesome rather than more efficient. And I was watching thinking, this looks really good. And we're doing a race that's a bit more on dirt tracks. So the guys, they all sort of opened their car up and, put dirty wheels on and made them a bit tougher and a bit slower, but more, manoeuvrable on the dirt. And it was like, that looks really, really, really fun. And it just looks like the sort of thing that I could lose myself in for hours. Like, I did not give two shits about it, did not care. And I just watched this one little, I think it was 10-15 minute video where the guy from movie was, sitting there explaining what was going on as they were playing. And I was like, yeah, I could do that. And it looked easy. None of this invite to party, send matchmaking request. Would you like to start a free drive game? It's just like, do you want to drive? Yeah. And you hit a button and you do it.
Cool.
It looks easy. It looks fun.
I honestly hadn't heard of it until BitSocket covered it on their Ubisoft day. Oh Christ! I've just remembered 2 games. Oh Jesus Christ!
Keeps happening to me. Like, Destiny.
This isn't going to be a top. It's going to be a speculative top 5 with like these kind of. It's like, oh, we've made this beautiful roast dinner, and there are mashed potatoes, and there are peas, and there are carrots, and there's Yorkshire puddings. But it's just like, I'm going to get some cheese and a pickle and a cocktail stick. I'm going to shove that in the roast dinner. But those don't go. It doesn't matter.
Would anyone like a toffee?
Yeah. But I saw the BitSocket lads cover it at the Ubisoft day that they went to in Paris, and Joe's sort of the racing guy, and he was saying that it was quite good fun. He said, but I wonder what the audience is for this.
Yeah, that's my worry. I don't think it's going to get the people. That is my only worry with it. I don't think anyone's going to buy it.
Because, in all honesty, thinking about it within this conversation, which was the last racer to kind of try something a little bit wonky and a little bit realistic, was probably Blur, which...
Blur and Split Second come out about the same time, didn't they? They were probably the last ones to try something wildly different.
Well, Blur was kind of like a realistic Mario Kart, wasn't it? And
yeah.
As far as I know, it actually did. The numbers it did were alright, but there weren't enough Activision
to make another one.
Yeah, and I think it kind of squashed the studio as well.
Give you that. Yeah, that's why I'm slightly... But then again, the fact that there aren't many races out at the minute, on the next-gen platforms, give it, I think, more of a chance of getting a foothold in, because, we're starved for things to play at the minute. There's plenty out there, but, if you're a racing fan, you've got Need for Speed, and that's the game you have to play.
But does that necessarily warrant building a franchise around it?
I don't know. Depends. It might turn out to be shite. I mean, it might turn out there's no one playing it and it's not fun. Because that's what made Burnout Paradise work for me, is that there was loads of people playing it all the time. And you could always jump into a room with, 6 to 8 people in and just dick about. And it was awesome and it was great. And it was just so many people on it. 'Cause it was, it went down crazy cheap, really, really fast. And it was just a blast. It was really fun. It was a complete blast. And I'm getting shades of it from what I've seen from the crew trailers, but whether or not it actually comes out, it comes out and is as fun and as cool and as many people get on it as I hope there will remains to be seen. But I hope people buy it, because it looks like, at very least, it looks like a good laugh and a decent Burnout Paradise substitute, even if you don't go quite as fast.
It's another one though that's hit a delay, and I think that's a good thing. Because if it's down to sort of finding the right place to launch it and the right, fine tuning it, I think that can only be a good thing.
Yeah, definitely. What's your next one?
Right, it's funny you should mention motors, Patrick, because here we go, racing into number 4. It's number 4 with a bullet is now this is one that's kind of snuck up on me a little bit. It's one that every single time that I've seen a trailer for it, I've been more and more interested. And there was footage that was seen at E3 of the game, and someone on my Twitter feed went, go to YouTube. There's massive pieces on like all of the stuff on YouTube that was just touched on at E3 in greater detail. So I was like, okay, and I took a look and just went, yeah, this is looking a little bit good. And the mentioning that the reason that there was a delay until 2014 was they were looking to get it racing up at 60 frames per second, and that they got it in the single player but not the multiplayer yet, but they're rating that they could do it. And it just started, the more I've seen of it, the more I've kind of gone, yeah, I'm going to be all over that. Hey baby, I'm going to be all over you like butter and toast. And that's Mario Kart 8.
Ah, I had a feeling that's where you were going with that.
Well, I mean, it's kind of increased a little bit since I got Mario 3D World last week, because that is a game that I have kind of played in my sort of snotty, plaguey kind of situational that I've been in. But given the amount of incredible ideas that are in that game that they use once and then throw away, I'm just thinking that this is going to be a really great Mario Kart, and the litmus test for me is still Sonic and All Stars Racing Transformed, which is amazing, and I love it to pieces. But there's something about it that I actually think that Nintendo aren't perhaps going as casual as they were with the Wii Mario Kart. That there's rumours that there's no blue shell.
Oh.
Which I adore.
That's interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting.
But you say that, but does that make it not Mario Kart anymore? No, that's part of it for me. Like that, it's the fear.
The thing is, though, like the amount of times that I've played Mario Kart and I've raced 2 fantastic laps, and then I've got bulleted and blue shelled towards the end, but there are times when I've done absolutely shite first couple of laps, and then I've bulleted or blue shelled somebody towards the end, and I've won it. So there is that element of luck, but I get the feeling that Nintendo are going for more of their old school audience at the moment.
Yeah.
And I think that that's what they might have done with Mario Kart 8 if as believed the blue shell's not there. But make it a race. That's what I want. Make it a race. Chuck in some new ideas in there. 60 frames per second is... I'm not normally a tech guy, but that will just be fabulous.
You don't want to be that guy that goes 1080p.
Yeah.
But, yeah, no, I've seen... I watched a couple of my chums play it at the Play Expo I went to in Manchester, and yeah, looked fun. Looked like a good, fun Mario Kart. I mean, the last one I really enjoyed of the Mario Karts I played, which admittedly isn't many, was Double Dash.
I didn't play Double Dash.
Double Dash.
I'm a nerd for the GameCube, but I never played Double Dash.
Loved the shit out of Double Dash. Loved it. Thought it was great. And then I tried Mario Kart Wii, and I just did not care. Like, we tried it for a couple of days and just could not get into it.
Really? Because I did get into Mario Kart Wii, I must admit. It was a game that I really enjoyed, but I had somebody that I was racing against, and I quite like the thing where it showed you where the people that you were racing were in the world.
That's cool.
Yeah, it did, like beforehand, like, on the online side of things, you went on and it was searching for players. And rather than it just being like a blank screen, it would bring up like the world, and it would go like shing, like spin across to Japan and go like Shinji, Japan, and then like Lawrence, Sweden, and it would like spin the world and show you like their little Mii's like waving out. And I thought that was really cool because not only personalised the race, but it made you feel like you were racing in. I don't know, this
national pride.
This really big community. And I just
like
think
kart-based Formula 1.
Yeah, it just felt great, and that really made me smile. And I put a lot of time into the online races and that, and must admit I really enjoyed it. But it'll be nice to see kind of another flagpole title coming out for the Wii U, and I think it's probably going to be a bit of a big deal for a lot of people as well.
When's that due, roughly? Give me a time.
I think it's April, but there's a few. I know a lot of people that bought Wii U's this Christmas and are really enjoying them, and the people that I thought would enjoy them, the people that like really get games. But for those people that are still hanging on, there's a lot of flagpole titles like Mario Kart and Smash Brothers that are coming out next year that they're not going to be able to resist. And for a few of them, another one that's not in my list, but one that's going to kind of make a few people cry, and indeed made you cry, is Bayonetta 2.
Yeah, let's not go there again. I'm at peace with it.
Did you see Cammy? Somebody asked him on Twitter, and he said like, is there any chance of I can't wait for Bayonetta 2 to come to Xbox 360 and PS3. Will it come to PS4 and Xbox One? Cammy just went, fuck off.
He's one of the best people on Twitter for that very reason.
He's a genius.
He'll just tell people to fuck off. It's awesome.
Yeah, it was funny. But yeah, Mario Kart 8 is my number 4. I'm genuinely excited for it.
Awesome. Cool. Let's go to my number 4 then, I think. Or, I don't know. I've talked about at least 3 games already, but this is number 4 of 5. My number 4 is a game that was revealed at the PS4 reveal, I believe. It was a little short thing, and I guessed something about it at that reveal that turned out to be true later, and I felt like a really smart bastard because no one else I'd seen had mentioned it, and I thought something, I saw something, I thought, I think this, and then it turned out on the next time they showed it to be completely true. And that game is Deep Down.
All right, okay.
And the thing that I guessed, because they showed it and it was, oh, you're a knight and you're fighting a monster, and oh no, and it's a dragon, and quick, what am I going to do? And then he texts for help to a friend. And I said, this game is going to be set in the fucking future, like Assassin's Creed is. And no one else said it. And then
I remember you tweeting that, my friend. I remember you.
2 months later, they showed another trailer. It's like, yep, it's set in 2050 New York, and the smugness abounded. It was like a smug cloud just emanating from my body, and all around me were crying tears of shame.
The winner is you.
A winner was I, and I was the smuggest man in the world at that point. But enough about smugness, more about the game. Deep Down was the thing that came out, and we all went, "Oh, that looks a bit like Dark Souls," and then everyone was interested.
No, that was
Dragon's Dogma.
That was the thing that came out, and everybody just went, "It's Dragon's Dogma."
Because of the DD, and it's made by Capcom, like the DD. Oh, you know.
Capcom kind of denied the Dragon's Dogma connections at first, and then they've kind of leaned back into them a little bit now. Yeah,
I think they are taking it a different direction now. I don't think it is going to be a Dragon's Dogma game. It looks, like I say, from the sound of it, from what I understand of the game, it sounds like the worlds are made like randomly generated, and you're looking for like artifacts is what you use to, like, you know, in Assassin's Creed you've got the genetic memory in your brain. It looks like that genetic memory is in the objects this time.
Okay. In
a way. So you'll go into the worlds that these objects come from to find them, I guess, or something. I don't know. Who cares? But yeah, you are a knight and you tramp around a random dungeon and you stab some things, like, and it's free to play. I mean, seriously, it looks gorgeous. Like, free to play. Even if it plays a bit jank, it's free. I don't care. I'll play that.
It depends how they handle sort of the paid for content and the accessibility. Because if somebody actually gets that model right, they're going to do a really good job. But I've heard that is it Blacklight on PS4 actually?
Yes, I have also been listening to Chet and John talk about Black.
yeah. In my plagued up state, I was like, "Is this a thought I've had in my mind?" It's two gentlemen talking. It's Chet and John. Like, I can't believe that people went through with Christmas and exchanged gifts, knowing that Chet and John wouldn't be doing anything this week. I've missed it.
I'm sad as well. I've been listening to old ones. Chet and John. Shout out, you guys are cool. Not that they'll listen to this.
No.
But yeah, like, it just, Deep Down's looking fun. It's looking like the kind of shit that I can enjoy, and if they get that free-to-play model like they're saying the Blacklight Retribution seems to have got the model pretty well, if they can get the model right, and, you know, if they can convince me to spend money on it, they have got the model right, because I don't think I've spent any money in any free-to-play game ever.
You know, the thing that always flummoxes me about free to play.
Yeah.
There always seems to be a degree of kind of really having to pay to get the best stuff, and yet the grind to get there is near impossible. I don't mind the grind particularly, but I tell you what, make me throw money at it, Capcom. Let me have some Monster Hunter armor that I can run around in. Let me have some clothes from Dragon's Dogma. Let me just give me something like pretty to wear.
Give me a Resident Evil Jill Valentine outfit.
Yeah, honest to God, we'd all like to
give us a Dante coat.
Yeah, give us a Leon S. Kennedy Resident Evil 2 police officer outfit.
Yeah, a Mega Man hand blaster.
It's set in 20 whenever, so you know you can possibly chuck that sort of stuff into the mix anyway. And I'm sure if they've done it in the likes of the Resident Evils, you can always change costumes on your second run of the game.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Seriously, if you had a costume pack like that, I'd pick one up.
Just for the lols of running around as Jill Valentine.
Yeah, I mean, and if rather than getting a number of people that will spend a bit of money and a lot of people that will play a bit, find apathy and just fuck off. If you got a few quid from everybody, doesn't that kind of make for a decent profit?
Exactly. Yeah, like give us something cool that we want to buy that isn't just this is a tool to get past the grind. Because a lot of free-to-play games I've played have that problem. Dust 514, Jesus Christ, the amount of grind you have to do to afford even the most basic of stuff. Like no, Dust. I don't want to give you this much time.
Yeah, but then you leave and you don't come back again.
No, because the actual shooting itself, the grind isn't fun. Like if the grind's fun, fair enough, but the grind wasn't fun. But hopefully the grind in Dragon Deep Down, might be fun. You never know, because the combat looks pretty physical and pretty heavy. Even if the orcs that you kill do seem to collapse as a ragdoll and then seem weightless from that point onwards.
Oh, I've only seen that initial trailer. I've not seen any of the gameplay.
Oh no, I've seen a little bit of gameplay. And the things, they're big heavy monsters and they die. And they collapse as a ragdoll, but then they have the sort of thing they do in Dark Souls when you sort of run into them and they kind of just sort of flop around the place like a weightless balloon. But I'm okay with it. Whatever. Just give me monster stabs.
As we reach sort of to this kind of almost halfway point, would you like to interject any games that you've forgotten in this little interval?
Oh,
you may score a little music underneath this, if you will. But is there anything that you've forgotten or that's also in there?
The ones before we get to the top threes, the ones I've completely forgotten about that I feel stupid for forgetting. Destiny was one. The Division was one. Lego The Hobbit. Thanks. That was my missus. Give us some Lego.
Then you're like, someone's just broken into my house. I'll be back.
They're stealing my Lego. Lego Hobbit, yes please. I'm excited to know what the next Assassin's Creed might be, because they seem to come out year on year, and we don't know that one's definitely coming, but it might be, and I'll buy it.
I can tell you now, there are two that are coming. There's one for Xbox 360 and PS3, and there's a different game that's coming for PS4 and Xbox.
Oh, of course they're doing Liberation, aren't they? The port, and they're doing the...
No, this is outside of that.
Is there? How did I miss that?
Honestly.
Okay, I picked that.
The ones that initially sort of leapt into my mind when you were talking about the car racy Division-y thing was the two little Ubisoft games. There's Child of Light, and then there's another one that's set in the First World War. A little sort of side-on sort of adventures that look...
I know what you mean, and I can't bring it to mind.
That look kind of like the old British sort of Ivor the Engine type animation, but perhaps gorgeous. And I was really taken away by both of them. And I can't think what...
While you're thinking, let me just say all of the indie games that are coming to the PS4 and the Vita, just all of them. There's no point listing them off. I'll try. Volume, Rogue Legacy, yes please. Minecraft's finally coming.
Isn't Volume 2015?
Is it? I thought it was 2014. Then maybe not that one, but I am looking forward to it regardless. But yeah, basically all of them indies that are coming to the Vita. Don't Starve, I think, is coming next week on the PS4 for free on Plus.
Every time I hear Don't Starve, I always think about that sweatshop game that was banned by Apple. The one that was where it was
I know what you mean.
It was like a game dev story sort of thing where you made clothes, but you basically got in the poor to make them, and it's just as to whether you went for profits or you treated people correctly.
Cool.
But it was like Simon Parkin and Cara Ellison worked on sort of a lot of the story and design elements and stuff.
Yeah. As a brief shout out to The Order 1668 or whatever it is, it looks interesting.
Valiant Hearts is the other one.
Oh, okay, cool. Oh, there's one more that I was interested in, which doesn't even exist, but I'm just hoping it does. Saints Row 5. If they make that, I'll buy that. I don't even care what they make it as. I will buy it because Saints Row 4 was delightful. It's not even announced or anything, or I don't even know if it exists. If it exists, I'll buy it. If not, please make it. I'll buy it.
Right. Well, if we're going for dream announcement, if we really are destroying this list,
do it.
Demon Souls 2 drops the mic, walks away.
Oh yeah, that would be good.
Yeah.
Boom. PS4 exclusive. Walk away. That will sell PS4s.
Yeah, sell PS4 to me.
Xbox One exclusive. I kill myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'll never happen.
No. Any more? Any more for any more? Or we moving on?
Yeah. Well, if we're going for the other stuff, there's a little game that's coming to the Nintendo eShop, and I think it might be going other places as well. Because Shovel Knight.
Oh yes.
Which is like a little side-on scroller. Oh
God! Everything I kickstarted. Yeah.
Yeah. There's it's Tengami, which is a really beautiful looking sort of pop-up book.
Yep.
Sort of by a lot of people that used to work for Rare. So I'm looking forward to that. Binding Isaac, I've heard a lot about, and that's coming to PS3 and PS4 next year. There's a game called Silent Enemy, which is iOS, Android, and PC, I think, which is a kind of the folks that Minority Media who did Papu and Yo.
Oh, okay.
It's their sort of take on bullying, if you will. But that looks really interesting.
And No Man's Sky by Hello Games that have suffered the very awful flood over Christmas.
You know, the very awful. Did you see what happened with their insurance?
Yeah, they're not covering it because they're in a flood zone. What's the point of flood insurance if selling someone flood insurance if you're then not going to pay out for it? What is the point?
You know what's going to happen there? Some company is going to just step in and pay for it all.
Yeah.
Somebody.
And I hope it's a company I like.
Yeah. but yeah.
Or they'll do a Kickstarter and they'll make thousands upon thousands of pounds.
Oh, there's another one. There was a game that was coming that looked like a cross between Dark Souls and Zelda by the guy that did a recent Vita and PC survival horror game.
Oh God, I know the one you mean. It's not the Lone Survivor, is it?
Yeah, it's the guy that did
Jasper Kidd or something is his name.
That's the Assassin's Creed music guy, isn't it?
Oh shit, who am I thinking of?
It is something along those lines. It's Jesper something or other, I'm sure.
Yeah. Should we both quietly Google it?
Yeah,
It all went quiet, and I thought we're both doing it, aren't we?
You see, I've got a little.
Jasper Byrne. Ha! My Google skill is good. Jasper Byrne. But I know the one you mean, and I am also interested in that.
Yes. So, yeah, whatever that is.
Should we get to number 3s then?
All right then.
What a nice break that was.
What a nice ice cream that was. And now we're back for the top 3.
Yay!
Right, so my number 3.
What is the stuffing of your top 3?
What do you mean?
You know, like if we're going with the roast dinner metaphor,
I have no idea.
It be the stuffing.
I just want to get to my game, man.
Do it.
I'm excited. When the trailer for this came out, I literally stopped breathing. And those are great trailers. The ones where you go like, I cannot lose any sort of anything to the of breathing, because you need to capture every single moment where you look at the screen and you just go, huh?
Is it the kind of trailer you would download and then watch again?
Yeah, and then again, and then again. And then you turn the volume up when you're watching, and you move in close to the TV or monitor and just like look at everything, and then you just go. And that happened to me, and the fact that it's following on the heels of one of the finest games of the last generation and one of the greatest games ever made. My number 3 is the currently titled X on Wii U.
Ah, I thought that was where you were going with that.
Xenoblade Chronicles is one of the finest games ever made. To say that the Wii was an underpowered console at the side of the PS3 and Xbox 360. The fact that in Xenoblade Chronicles the map was so big, just so colossal, and I've not had the feeling in any game that compares to running down the massive green fields in Xenoblade Chronicles that were just the map was colossally wide, and there's just you felt very, and it's something that I really like in games, when you feel very small in a colossal world. And Xenoblade Chronicles was well written. It got a gorgeous score. It looked phenomenal.
Yeah.
You know, Wii's resolution be damned. It looked beautiful. And it was a phenomenal game, and I cried. You know, it made me cry. It got me invested in the story, and it was a very smart and well written piece of science fiction. With as I later found out, the lass that ended up playing Clara in Doctor Who was one of the voice actors.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was all British actors that were on it again, which added a certain quality to it that isn't normally there in. You know, when you get US dubs and you get the same sort, you get used to the same accents, and it's quite nice to hear something British, even though it's a Japanese game. It kind of has that element of BBC almost to it. Which is a nice little colour to, you know, nice little contrast between the British and the Japanese stuff.
Yeah.
But the trailer for X just looks phenomenal. This world of kind of monsters and dinosaurs and mechs that turn into jet fighters, and
that looked super cool.
And you know, they're promising kind of like this seamless open world and stuff. And you've got people wandering down streets, and it just looks incredible. And I'd watched the latest trailer again, sort of this evening, and it just looks. It looks like something that's not been announced anywhere else. Do you know what I mean? It just looks science fiction and quirky and deep, and yet you know that it's holding tons and tons back.
It looks a bit Star Wars.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, in that it's wide and it's space opera, and it looks like it's going to be cool.
I hadn't thought of that, but you're right. And there's almost a little bit of the look, which reminds me of sort of what's now known as Final Fantasy 15, that kind of almost real world meets fantasy sort of aspect to it. But it looks beautiful, and I think it's going to be a bit of a star turn for the Wii U when it turns up. But yeah, it
looks great. Like, it looks really cool. Even this is me not as a Wii U owner. That looks cool.
And I'm wondering if it might be, you know, certain people have bought consoles for one game before, but I'm wondering if there might be, if the Wii U sort of drops beyond the 200 quid that it's at now, I'm wondering if there's a few people that might look at Bayonetta 2, X, Smash Brothers, that kind of stuff, and just
that's going to be a tipping point kind of couple of months when they all come out, because particularly Smash Brothers, I think.
Well, this is what happened with the 3DS. That everybody wrote it off and said that it was a failure, and then all of a sudden, a few games started to appear that people couldn't resist, and then the sales figures of the machine went up, and then more games came out for it, and that cycle just carried on, and you know, the 3DS is a phenomenal now. It's a phenomenon, but I think people read too much into sort of early sales figures and.
Oh yeah, you've got to give it at least a year before you can look at real numbers. Easy, I think you do, because you know the only people who buy the thing at launch are the crazy people that were going to buy it anyway. Like, I think you need to wait a year to see if you can capture the people that, you know, wait and see.
Yeah, well, you get both, and both are important. You get the people that will be there day one, because if everybody pitched in on day one, there'd be shortages anyway.
Yeah.
But I completely agree with those people that are waiting for a game for them, but it just seems that there are games that are turning up that aren't on other systems, and whilst there's a lot of crossover between, you know, Sony and Microsoft games on this gen and next gen, I think that maybe the Wii U might become sort of a second option for somebody that's got, say, a PC or somebody that's got a PS4, that rather than getting the other machine, and I think that's a viable option.
As a man who owns one of the new ones, then I completely agree with that. I think it's if I was going to get a second machine to play on, it would probably be a Wii U. You know, because the games, while I had a bit of I say a love-hate. I had a hate affair with the Wii. I didn't like it. I really did not get on with it. It looks like the things I like are happening on the Wii U now. It's taken a little while to get there, but the things I like are coming.
I think this. I mean, you know me, my Wii U soapbox, and I will keep banging that drum until people get them. But the people that I think would like them are enjoying them. Yeah. Now they've got them. But the fact that it's backwards compatible with the last machine, I think is great. and that you can still play all your old games, sort of, on the big telly. But also when those games turn up with Wii U specific versions, like the Virtual Console titles, they're selling them to people at like 75% off and stuff, as like kind of, thanks very much for buying it last time. You can have this like really cheaply. That's how companies should be looking after people. Not a degree of kind of, oh, shall I buy this again? Like a degree of, all right then.
I've got this already. That's what I do. I think, without banging the Sony drum, they're doing really well with the cross-buy stuff.
Yeah.
You buy it once, you get when I got my PS4, I've already mentioned it on the cast in the first episode. But I've got Flower, I've got Flow, I've got Sound Shapes. They're all there, just good to go.
I think companies have to keep going with this and have to keep looking out for their audience, because I think it's insane that that degree of customer service isn't there. And you're even getting the stuff now where important games are kind of disappearing from digital platforms. BitSocket again did a video recently where Outrun Online went. Marvel vs. Capcom 2's going. Schoolgirls nearly went. It's bizarre, but
crackers. Thank you, physical media.
Yeah,
that's why I still buy things on disc wherever given a choice. But yeah, so let's move on to my number 3 then. My number 3 is probably a game that I have the most significant history with of any game series I think I've got. It's dominated my life for quite a large part of my life. I like this series so much, I have a 6-foot fiberglass statue of one of the characters sitting next to me right now. My number 5 is Metal Gear 5 Ground Zeroes.
I'm stunned that this has made.
Sorry, my number 3. I got confused.
No, I'm stunned that this has made number 3 and is not a little bit higher.
You'll see later. But yeah, Ground Zeroes. I am. Well, to be fair, past this point, it's all basically hype train. Like, there's not really much in it after this point. There's quite a lot of hype train. So don't read its bronze position as any badness on its part. Ground Zeroes. It's I don't know if you know about this, but you've got Ground Zeroes and you've got the Phantom Pain, which are both part of the same game, but they're releasing them as two halves. For example, you remember Metal Gear Solid 2 had the tanker section at the start and the big shell part, and you played the tanker section as Snake, which was maybe, I don't know, half an hour to an hour depending on how good you were, and then you played the entire rest of the game as Raiden, which was about 9 or 10 hours. Depending on how good you were, on your first run, you could expect about 12 hours out of the game, ignoring cutscenes, of course.
Yeah.
And they're doing a similar thing this time, where they're breaking it up, but they're selling it in two halves. So we're getting Ground Zeroes in, I believe, March, and we're getting the Phantom Pain much, much, much later. And I believe there's actually a 20-year or a 10-year gap between the two games narratively. Well, I'm not sure if it's 10. It's quite a significant gap between the two games narratively.
And are they a significant size each?
I'm gonna say, this is speculation based on things I've read, and I've not read much because I'm trying to go in fresh. I think Ground Zeroes won't be a very long game. They're selling it for £20.
Oh, okay.
So it's not going to be a very long game. But I would, if it's like, if it's 4 or 5 good hours, I'll take that. Next gen Metal Gear game, and then enough to get prepped for Phantom Pain, which will be the $50, all in super mega cool version. Then I'll take that as a taster, rather than waiting, another year to get it. I'd rather have some of it now and some of it later.
Now I'm gonna interject something that again is on one of the latest BitSocket videos, where Joe's a massive Metal Gear Solid fan.
Yep.
And he was saying about exclusive content exclusive to certain platforms. But as a Metal Gear Solid fan, the fact that there's going to be certain content that's exclusive to Xbox One, and there's certain content that's exclusive to that's exclusive to PS4, and that even as he plays the game, he knows that he won't have the full experience because a certain portion of that is on a different machine.
It's fucking maddening. It is insane, and I believe we covered this with our when we talked about Dark Souls 2's pre-order bonuses being everywhere. It's the same thing. It's like
it's not the same thing though, is it? Because there's a difference between choosing between a free comic, a free T-shirt, a poster, and maybe some sort of etched pictures, and having a piece of game content that's withheld from you.
It's infuriating because it's there and. It might not even be very good content, but it is content. And, it's so annoying. Like, if it was, this is going to sound really dumb, but I'd be more okay with it if you had both versions of the game. Mm-hmm. You had the Xbox One, you had the PlayStation 4 one. If the PlayStation 4 one had a little extra mission or two in it, and the Xbox One didn't have anything, I'd be more okay with that. Because it means, you're playing on this platform, here's a bit extra.
But that's not really
staying Sony. But now it's like, okay, you're buying, if you want to have the whole thing, you're going to have to buy 2 fucking consoles.
Yeah, but that's not fair to the people that have decided that they want to go with the Xbox One.
Oh, totally. This is just my own Sony pony coming through. The other way around, I agree. But yeah, that's just my Sony pony coming through.
I mean, it may well come to pass that, these are kind of pieces of timed exclusive content that maybe going to turn up on the stores at a certain point anyway. But I don't know. They
both sound fun as well, which is the annoying part. If it was just costume packs, then who gives a shit?
Well, they did. Do you remember when the Metal Gear Solid HD collection came out?
Yeah.
That I think the Xbox didn't get the first Metal Gear Solid, as you'd imagine.
Oh yeah.
But they got like a load of avatar outfits and stuff like that.
Yeah,
that's kind of cool. That's a degree of balance, because it's not as if there was a decision there that was shitting on the customer, because they couldn't give the original Metal Gear Solid to Xbox owners.
Exactly, and I'm absolutely perfectly fine with that, because that is not a limitation of the system, but it's a thing they couldn't physically do.
They were really good outfits as well. They were really good outfits.
And it's something that, broad strokes, doesn't actually matter. It's costumes, it's avatar outfits. It's, if it was, for example, I don't know, PlayStation Network avatars, or some clothes to use in home, that thing that everyone uses. Big whoop. I don't care. Costume packs, whatever. But don't withhold actual game. Or split up actual game to a point where if you want to play the whole game, you can't just go, well, I'll buy a PS4 and the PS4 version because that is the complete version. No, you can't even do that. You've got to say, right, I'm going to have to buy both ones, or find a friend who's also buying it and go to their house and play it there. It's annoying. And I can just, please, Konami, just release it as DLC later. Just tell us it's coming a bit later, and I am okay with that.
Have a look at that. Have a look at that latest bit. Well, I don't think it's quite the latest. From a few days ago from BitSocket, because they actually have a bit of a to do with Konami on Twitter about it.
Oh, okay.
It's a really good vid with BitSocket getting a bit serious about the things that's starting to get a little bit nasty from this gen, and that we shouldn't, as consumers, put up with.
There is a large amount of, I'm just going to put up with it and just have to suck it up and live with it. But I'm not. It doesn't dampen my hype for the game at all, because the game looks super cool, like super cool. And playing as PS1 Snake on the Sony exclusive bit of content, yes please. That's basically hardwired into my blood to make me say yes please. Give me PS1 Snake every day. It's why I'm excited for Volume. It looks like more Metal Gear 1. Yes, give me some of that. And I'm not. Yeah, it looks amazing. It's just frustrating to know there's this whole Raiden thing that I'm not going to get to see. I don't know why Raiden's in it. It's like a weird Terminator bit. But frankly, Raiden's been a bit what the fuck for about 5 years now. So whatever. He's a robot now. Whatever. Just go with it. It's Metal Gear. Just get on with it. It's fine. He's a robot who can travel through time. Just accept it and move on. And it's annoying that I'm not going to get to play that, or I won't get to play it for a very long time, because I won't buy an Xbox One. I can say I'm a fair and reasoned individual that makes my own decisions, but it's very unlikely I'll buy another console for at least 5 years, and it's very unlikely it'll be an Xbox. I just don't like them.
Well, I mean, on a fairer front, I don't think you've got any particular history with the previous machines or the franchises, because
I don't care for Halo or Gears. That's it, really. I can see that they're fun. I just don't think it's worth buying a machine for.
On the one hand, I'm not a fan of the one at all, but I think you're selling Microsoft franchises a little bit short by kind of lumping them as either Halo or Gears, because the rumored MMO for State of Decay is Xbox One, and that would be a big head turner for me. Any new, I've played all of the Halo games and really enjoyed them, so that would be a head turner for me. But I don't like what the machine stands for. I don't like what Microsoft tried to do, and that's going to be a big. It's going to be a big pull to saying no.
Because there's still the worry. Like, I know this is complete paranoid garbage, and I'm becoming the kind of person I don't like on the internet. But it could still be there. They could still turn it on in a couple of years' time. And you think that's paranoid bollocks. But what if it does happen?
But didn't you see there was a fighting tournament on something like Killer Instinct, and the DRM kicked in?
I know, it's
Yeah, but the thing, I think the other side of this, if we're playing sort of devil's advocate, is that because Microsoft pulled these tricks, it wouldn't have surprised me at all if Sony were going to do the self-same thing, because if one was doing it, the other was doing it, and somebody in Sony marketing just went, we can use this to our advantage, and then pulled out the price point, you can use used games and all that sort of stuff. So the other side of that...
I've heard some spurious suggestions that they worked that all out after seeing Microsoft's conference that day, which is bollocks, and I won't stand for anyone saying that.
No, it wouldn't surprise me at all, mate. That's the way that advertising works.
Yeah, but no, they didn't get the PowerPoint presentation ready in that fast. They didn't do it. No. I'm not having any of that.
Yeah, because that was such an articulate and well-filmed and directed video where somebody handed somebody else a video game.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that was one of my favourite parts of the whole new console reveals thing was that particular little video. Laughed my fucking head off.
That whole press conference might as well have been an advert for fucking toothpaste.
Yeah, so that was my number 3.
Yeah, cheering and toothpaste.
Yay! Yeah, next gen worries but still hype. That's Ground Zeroes. Friend, what is the potatoes of your roast dinner?
The beautiful thick gravy of my number 2 most looked forward game to. That's an awful sentence. 2014. I'm not even going to fuck about with it. It's Monster Hunter 4 on 3DS. I cannot fucking wait for it. I've been looking into the stuff that it's doing. It's not coming out on Wii U this time, which is a bit of a shame because the online side of things just. On the Wii U wasn't on the 3DS for Monster Hunter 3, but they've got the online side of things on the 3DS for Monster Hunter 4. So there's at least that part.
Okay.
They've included sort of extra platforming sections this time. There's a load of monsters coming back from the previous editions. They've included the climbing mechanic from Dragon's Dogma.
Oh, nice.
So you can actually climb on the fuckers this time. There's new weapons. It just looks stupendously good. And I think it's going to be colossal. I think this is the point where Monster Hunter massively busts out of Japan because everybody will be playing that. And the Monster Hunter 3 on Wii U with the online side of things made it a lot more accessible because you got the chance to battle alongside experienced hunters, to get equipment that you wouldn't normally get, to get advice from people. And I find myself clicking with 3 in a way that I hadn't done with the previous games, and it eventually grew to be a bit of an obsession.
Yeah.
And I just think that 4 is going to be colossal on that front. It's just going to be colossal.
Colossal.
So yeah, it's a big star on my horizon, that one, and it'll be interesting next year as Monster Hunter 3's become such an obsession to me that it'll be interesting to see next year as to whether my number 2 is my favourite game or the number 1 is my favourite game.
Well, I'm curious. So it's coming out on the 3DS, you say?
Yeah.
So they're not putting a Wii version out?
No, strangely not.
Is there nothing planned?
Nothing at all. Which is
mad, because you really seem to have clicked with the Wii version of 3, haven't you? Like,
Well, I mean, essentially, sort of the main body of the game on 3DS and Wii U are the same. But the Wii U version has the online mechanic where you can go and you can battle 3 other hunters, and that was a big part of me understanding the game a little bit more, because people were nice and people were helpful, and the online battles were fun. And even if you were essentially wearing things from your cutlery drawer and going into battle with people that look like the Avengers, you might only get like a few hits in, but when you're carving up that monster, you might get a few bits that you can then take back and think, oh right, I'll see if anybody's fighting this monster again, and if I can get a few more bits. And you might look at your armor or your weapons and go, oh right, that's the next weapon that I can get with that. Oh look, there's an increase in the attack on that, and I can get poison damage, and things start to fall into place in a way that they didn't on the previous ones, because it held such a lot back. And it's been said that folks have spent 20 hours on the Wii U version and got further and clicked with the game more than they did the 100 hours on like the PSP versions. So that's always a good thing. And as I've said before, the experienced hunters are often knocking around in the novices' rooms to just talk to people and kind of help them through, and just say, you're wearing the Jaguar helm there, and you've got a few other bits. You know that if you keep your armor from the same creature, that you'll build up bigger bonuses, and to not mix your sets up. Is there anything that you're going for in particular? Is there any reason why you like that weapon so much? Or just talking to people, and those experienced hunters genuinely getting off on bringing new people into the game, and them getting that sort of kernel of understanding that they can then run with and hopefully get up to their level. And that's great. I love it when fandom does that.
And that's great, because I can't stand when you jump into an online game, especially something cooperative with random strangers, and they just shout at you for not being very good when you first start. It just kills any momentum a game has. When someone just, like, why didn't you heal? Why aren't you tanking right? Like, I just fucking started. I don't know.
Kills the online side of things so much. And I even had something where even about a month ago I had this battle, and I hadn't got. I was going into battle online with a creature that I'd not fought before, and I didn't realise that the creature was in a volcano and didn't really have sort of heat resistant armour and stuff.
Didn't know what to bring.
Didn't have a lot of stock of, like, you've got these cooling drinks that you can have to sort of maintain your temperature.
So you can stand in a volcano. Hang on, wait, let me suck this Fanta. Okay, I'm good.
And likewise, when you're in the colder regions, there's essentially a flask
of tea
as well. And my health was sort of nipping down like quite massively, and when you sort of run out, you faint, and then you go back to sort of the start and you run again. And there was points where I was like, oh, I'm really sorry, and I'm sure I lost like this battle for everybody at a certain point. At quite a close moment to the creature going. I was like, I'm really sorry, and they were like, it doesn't matter. And not even saying it in a shitty way. Just going like, no, it doesn't matter, mate. And I dig that. That's what it's supposed to be about. It's not like, oh my god, and like stropping out like teenagers. So to have that degree of maturity on what's considered a child's platform by many people is quite the dichotomy.
It sounds like the way I like to play games with friends, where you cock up, but you laugh about it. Like, for example, a perfect example, a mutual friend of ours from the Polygon forums, Matt White, the pony guy, got Left 4 Dead 2 and wants to play some. He's like, I'm not very good though. I was like, yeah, I'm in for that.
Yeah,
sounds great. Let's be crap together. It'll be awesome.
But I still think that your barriers to Monster Hunter franchise are the same ones that my barriers were previously, and I think you just laugh the shit out of the online side of things. And I genuinely think that you get it just simply because I have. So in that 5 years time or whenever, when you go, fuck it, I'm buying a Wii U for Bayonetta 2. I'll make sure you get Monster Hunter at the same time, and then essentially we can do the Twin Humanities thing again, where I'm the experienced hunter and you're coming on board sort of fresh faced.
And the cycle begins anew.
Yeah. Arsnivenga.
Oh dear.
What's your number 2 then, Chickabee?
My number 2, the delicious roasted potatoes of my list. The number 2 is a series. It's a sequel to a series that I really, really like. It was a new series on this last generation on the PS3. It's had a couple of iterations and a spin-off, all of which I really, really liked. And this new title that's coming in about April, I believe, looks like it's going to blow them all away. And I am super, super, super chuffed. The game is Infamous Second Son.
Or as I like to call it, Hatmandu.
Hatmandu. Jesus. I love the Infamous games. Like they were one of the franchises, the real original ones that I really dug. Like the Uncharted games were really good and I enjoyed them a lot, but the Infamous titles felt like they were for me. Mm-hmm. Like they felt like someone looked at. He wants a game with superheroes and lightning and jumping about and climbing and big monsters and lightning grenades and explosions. And let's give him that. Mm-hmm. And then I said yes, and they gave it to me, and I was happy.
Yes.
I said yep. But yeah, no, I loved the first one. I beat it. I platinumed it, so I beat it 3 times with various karmic slights, shall we say. First run's always evil. Always play the first run evil because it was just funnier. I played the second one. I went to check them out 1.5 times simply because I've got so much to play at the minute. You know, it's these days there's so much good stuff to play. You can't really give a game 5 playthroughs like I used to be able to. But yeah, not to slight that at all. It was again brilliant. A really good evolution of the game. Really, really cool use of characters as well. Like even made Zeke a character that a lot of people don't like, which is basically Cole McGrath's shitty friend. Mm-hmm. Even made him, you know, like actual you gave a crap about Zeke. It was awesome. And then the spin-off, Festival of Blood, which came out in this wonderful little time when a lot of games were sort of putting out these weird side projects like, what if he was a vampire? The same bit of Red Dead. What if there were zombies in the Wild West? Fuck it, why not?
But it was really well regarded, wasn't it, Festival of Blood?
Great, really good, really tight. It was about 4 hours long, so it's not long. You get about a third of the city to play in. And you're just a vampire. And you can just, you know, fly about as a cloud of bats and suck people's blood, and it's awesome. It was really, really fun. You know, it's really tight, really well designed, and it didn't outstay its welcome. You got through it, you loved it, got to the end, and you move on. You know, it was really, really fun. No bullshit 3,000 collectibles to collect, you know, no dozens of side missions. You could just potter about and enjoy yourself. You could even see the main boss of the game would float around like a local graveyard, and you'd be able to see her just, you know, floating about. And go over and you could try and fight her and get immediately killed. But it was nice that you could try. And it was great, really, really fun. But yeah, the title I'm looking forward to is Second Son, which it was revealed again at the PS4 event. Mm-hmm. I think it was just called Second Son at that point, so the Infamous ties were a bit spurious, like we weren't sure. Mm-hmm. It seems to be set in the future. All the conduits, which are the super people, have gone pretty much. But this new chap, a man called Delsin, which is a really stupid fucking name, seems to be developing smoky powers. Mm-hmm. And you can do, and what I like about the power design is that they've thought about the smoke powers. So in Infamous, the other ones, it was lightning powers. You get your lightning powers by sucking electric out of, you know, cars or lamps, you know, like street lights and electric signs and all that sort of stuff. And they've thought, right, okay, this time it's smoke powers, so you can get your, you know, power back from smoke. So you can sit on chimney tops, you know, and suck the smoke out, or like, you know, you can break a car and then sort of suck the smoke out of the car. It's all kind of from smoke.
Sweet.
You can smoke form. You can go into vents and kind of pop up at the other side of the vent. I think one of the other powers they've shown is neon, which is like the whipping, going fast, super speed kind of power. But you get that by sucking neon out of neon signs.
All right.
It's awesome. Like it's just
I like that.
Clever little ideas, and it helps as well that it looks fucking beautiful.
I think it also helps that it's kind of kept its head down for a respectable amount of time since we've last seen it.
Yeah.
Not as if it's kind of it's dragging or it was announced too soon or. I just think that there'll be a certain point before the game's release where they'll just start ballparking a lot of the promotion stuff for that.
Totally.
And they'll start kicking out trailers that people will go, fuck, look at it now.
Yeah. It's stuff like the defamation. Apparently, you can just smash something, go away, come back an hour later, it's still smashed.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the journos that I've seen on Twitter and on the internet talking about it that have played it behind closed doors have all said, yeah, it's good.
All right.
Like there's been quite a positive reaction to it. I've not heard anything bad about it yet, and admittedly, next gen game, it's a big one. It's not far, so it's a way off. But you don't expect to hear bad things this early. But it's nice to know that everyone's coming over with a positive outlook for it, and everything like the animations, just the way the guy looks so cheerful. Delsin, there's the shot from the trailer that always comes up in every trailer I've seen of it, where he's kind of jumping up really, really high, and he kind of hovers in the air a bit, sort of falls over backwards, and then falls back down to earth. And just that moment of that kind of the tipping point where he's at the point of no gravity and just smiling like, yeah, this is awesome. Mm-hmm. And that's the feeling that I want to feel when I play it. I want to be sitting there with a grin like, this is fucking great.
It just seems sort of looking on in to your world and PS4. It seems like a game where you're not going, what could I play? It's and looking at the available titles and thinking, I might quite enjoy that one. It's kind of you're looking at it and going like, I am going to love you like you are my own child.
It's the destination. It's the holiday. It's the beach. That's where I'm going.
Mm-hmm.
And I am the hype train is running on full steam for this one. And gosh, frankly, I cannot wait.
I'm excited for you because it's always nice when someone's really smitten with a game.
I'm going to be fucking insufferable on the internet when that comes out.
I will interject
because the PS4 share stuff. I can do cool things and show everyone. Look at this dumb shit I did.
Yeah, but you can stream it like a motherfucker.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. I'm really excited for it. I cannot wait.
I tell you what,
I'm grinning now just thinking about it.
It's not even going to be a next year thing. I don't think, but as another one of our sort of interjected dream announcements, I really need Just Cause 3.
Ooh. Well, do you know the Just Cause 2 multiplayer mod's got been officially sanctioned and is coming out now?
Yeah, I saw the Video Gamer.
How fucking cool
piece on it, and it just looks mental. They
got
about 3,000 limousines all racing each other and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's but Just Cause 2 was just fucking ace. I loved it to pieces. So.
My Just Cause 2, I didn't get on with it as well as Just Cause 1, which sounds really dumb because it's universally acknowledged that 2's the better one, but I just didn't click with 2 like I clicked with the first one. But that's not to say it wasn't fun. Like, it was fun. I just didn't. Like, I've done this is a massive, massive map that's going to take you 3 weeks to get across. And you look at it and think, I just don't have the time.
I've barely done any of those missions. I've just driven around, had a good laugh, blown things up, run away.
Said lol. Done it again.
It's one of those games that I've really relaxed into.
Yeah.
And just found it at that point when it was out. I was out of work as well, so I'd have kind of like the radio on in the corner. I'd be listening to the radio constantly, and then because the 360 version had custom soundtracks. So I'd put in like a load of Commodore 64 SID tunes, or the game tone changed considerably when I put a memory stick in with a load of Radiohead stuff on it, and it's just a game that I found like stupendously fun. And I'm not a sandbox guy at all in general. It's not really my sort of thing, but I just enjoyed sitting around in it.
Yeah.
So.
It was glorious. Are we at our number one now?
I think we are.
Look, should we just announce this together? Because I know what yours is going to be, and you know what mine's going to be.
Sequel to the best game ever made. Them screenshot that beta. Dark Souls 2.
Dark Souls 2!
Dark Souls 2.
Dark Souls 2!
I think it's going to be absolutely fucking massive. Absolutely massive.
Yes.
Even aside of from our own investment and adorations of the game, I think that the hype train will be in
orbit.
Yeah, and I find it very strange that there's a couple of big games that are releasing not just in the sort of vicinity of it, but the same fucking week.
Yeah, March is going to be bullshit for me.
Like Titanfall's the same week.
Yeah, I think Infamous might be the same week as well.
That's bizarre.
Great. I think the Minecraft PS4 version comes out the same week too, which is another thing that I'm looking forward to playing. Like, I don't know how I'm going to cope that week.
I think that there's a lot of people that may have thought that Dark Souls wasn't for them and have just heard word of mouth about it or have picked it up in a sale, whether it be, for a pittance on Steam or...
It was £3 the other day on Steam, which is phenomenal.
Yeah, they had it for about £4 on Xbox Live recently.
Yep.
And I saw the Prepare to Die edition today for $12.95 in one of the sales.
Mm-hmm.
I think there are a lot of people that are approaching the game that wouldn't have normally gone near it, but they've heard about kind of whether it's that bullshit sort of difficulty thing, or on the other side of it, they've heard people going, "It's a really good game. The rush is like nothing that you've ever experienced," and they've gone in there and have found themselves overwhelmed, but have then overcome their difficulties, and they're in a place that they're some sort of glorious place that they don't recognise. I think the hype for the game is building very, very sweetly, and has been since that first announcement, actually, at the Spike Video Game Awards last year. They just seem to be working things incredibly well. They're appreciative of the community, which I think is a really big deal. And the closer it gets towards release, with the previews and the reviews coming out and it turning up in the shops, and such a gorgeous special edition as well.
Isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It's the statue I want. I need it in my body.
But you ordered it at the same time as me for like 62.
I'm glad that I did.
On Amazon.
I'm glad that Shop 2 wouldn't let me sign up, because it then came out on Amazon for £60 like a day later. I was like, "Yep, done." Click.
Yeah,
I was trying like mental to kind of sign up for Shop 2 to pre-order it, but I couldn't do it. And I was
they were the first people to have the pre-order up, but games still have their special edition for £90. I think Shop 2's is like maybe 82 now, maybe 85. Amazon's has gone up to 74. Zavi's is 90. So we've saved about £30 on that. And the great thing is that the collector in me might have to.
Because now you've got £30 free.
Now I've got £30 free. I might have to do something stupid with it to get one of those other bonuses. The comic book, in particular, I'm thinking of.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, it's thing is, I was very happy to pay £90. Happy to pay £90 because I don't often buy the special editions of things anymore. I used to do it all the time, like the Assassin's Creed 2 one that came with a statue, the Batman one that came with a statue. They all come with statues. Fuck it. The Fallout one that came in a lunchbox. I used to buy those all the time, and I don't do it anymore. But yeah, £90 for that statue, which I've seen in person and is beautiful. Yeah, boy.
And somebody there was a retweet on Twitter the other day with somebody saying, "I know this sounds weird, but I'm really looking forward to the cloth map."
Yes, the cloth map. But I think I agree with what you were saying earlier, that I think it's going to be massive, and I think that's because it has the fan base for it has trickled up, and it's up and up and up and up, and it's not like it didn't come out to massive successes, but it's just had this constant fan base and following that's increased and increased, ourselves included. But you've got people like Varty, like Epic Name Bro, that have the popularity of their videos shows that people give a shit.
Yeah, there's more and more people that are doing stuff, doing the video side of things, especially that Sunlight Blade's doing some fantastic videos. There's
can't forget the bonfire side chat, guys.
Oh, Christ, yeah.
How did we forget that?
Well, I was meaning sort of more video sort of side of things, but Dave Control Live is another new one that I found recently. Sunlight Maggot's doing great stuff.
Yeah.
But
there's these guys called Humanities that make this podcast that's quite good.
Nah, it's not as good as Bonfire Side Chat. I genuinely do love Bonfire Side Chat, though, so, big tip of the hat to the boys over there. Our brothers, our soul brothers across the pond.
Another world, another nexus.
But yeah, the community's still thriving, and to say that you still got so many people that are buzzing on that game, over 2 years after it was released, still getting that many people that are playing.
What else gets? What other game gets that isn't like Warcraft?
But I even saw something the other day with because like Sunlight Blade's channel is all to do with kind of PvP type stuff.
Yeah.
And it was people fighting hackers. So people that had hacked their game and had got unlimited health, and the regular players that were going in there and had captured footage of killing them regardless.
What?
It was brilliant. It was just like leading them to the side of cliffs and kicking them off and stuff.
That's amazing.
And getting like about 180 million souls or something because people just hadn't fucking died. Excuse me. And there was one where this hacker hadn't even died, but they were I think in their own game, and somebody had invaded them, and this hacker had got like unlimited health, and they run around the bit in the bosses with in the forest with the stone knights, and the trees and stuff. Had kind of been engaged in that battle, but then got stuck in the corner, and there were about 3 or 4 stone knights and all of the trees all hitting them at once, and they couldn't move, and the invader just turns towards the camera and does well, what is it? It's absolutely sweet as an art.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I mean, the fact that a lot of folks will say with the original Dark Souls that in the situation that it's in now, that reading and interacting with the community is sort of half of the experience. But at the start of Dark Souls, there was none of that. There was absolutely none of it. You'd even got journos before the first reviews came out who were firing questions off to one another about, this has happened.
The video gamer Chain of Pain.
Yeah,
they talked about that on the video gamer Pantsman first run. I remember watching it, and they were talking about the Chain of Pain, where they were trying to work out how to do stuff.
I remember Kevin Van Order to GameSpot saying that he got infected by he got infected by one of the maggots, which took half of his health off. And did anybody know how to get rid of that? And of course, now we know sort of things like egg vermifuge.
It's a Google away, isn't it? It's easy.
But then you didn't.
No, I'm really looking forward to being there at that point now, like getting in on getting in the door on the first day and having that sense of, what the fuck am I supposed to do?
When I first played the game, I went through, didn't really do a lot of summoning. I don't think I did any. I think I did it off my own back. And when we've been playing through the beta, there's been points where I've been like, should I bring somebody in? And just my natural instinct, my overriding instinct is no.
Yeah, I agree. The first time you want to experience it, a la carte.
Yeah.
Is that the right word? I don't know. On its own. You want to, because you don't want to have that thing you get, which you get in the Undead Burg, basically almost every time you get summoned in, or summon someone in. You get that one guy who just screams off ahead. And the next time you see them, they're waiting at the boss door, and everything is dead. And you're like, great, you've ruined the game for me.
Well, I've had a little bit of that, because obviously I've got the Soul Level 1 run, and I'm using the Undead Burg as a place to get Humanities, so I can go back to difficult areas and summon you in, so we can do a little bit of bro op and stuff. But I've recently started a 2-handed run, and have been in the situation where a few times where really people that probably are doing Soul Level 1 runs are really powerful haven't really showed the main player where to go, or haven't really been helping. They've just been screaming away. And one recently, just where the tourist demon sort of jumps down, just hit them with one fiery blast when they jumped down and killed them. And the main person was like over by the other side.
Yeah, they've not even seen him yet.
No, and it just felt like...
Annoys me. Like, that's half the fun, letting them get a bit scared. Like, I always make sure whenever I, get someone in, I always equip appropriate level gear for the place. Like, I always try and equip, like, shittier weapons than the ones I'm using.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, like, in the Berg, I always try and just take out, like, I think there's a Morning Star I picked up that's, like, +2 or something. I thought, right, I'll use that in the Berg, because it levels it out a bit more then. I'm not just screaming in and one-shotting the Taurus Demon, which is funny, but, I don't want to take it away from people.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always got a super spell in the pot just in case I need it, but I try not to use it.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully when we do get into Dark Souls 2, hopefully there won't be as much of that because people just won't fucking know. Like we'll be going like, what's the optimum routes? And I don't know. Like
you realise that Twitter is going to be a blessing and a curse at that point.
Oh man! Oh god! Am I going to have to stay off the internet?
It's just like Twin Humanities will be sent to appropriate houses by a pigeon. We've written some current thoughts which we have shielded from one another. The pigeon will stop off at my house and at Patrick's and visit you all.
Oh man, like I'm going to have to stay off Twitter because I don't want to know the horrible things that are going to happen. Like, for example, okay, here's an example of why I want to stay away. The Anor Londo archers, I knew they were bad before we ever got there because I'd heard people talk about them, and I was sort of ready for them to be completely bullshit. I think if I'd have discovered that myself, it would have been infinitely better. Mm-hmm. Like, just going, oh, this bit's good, and what is that tree trunk that has been fired from 8 miles away?
Why are you firing javelins?
Who's throwing fucking Roman columns?
I remember sort of going through to that point, and I hadn't really clicked on with like poison arrows at that point, and I started running up, and I saw one of those archers pull out that massive bow and just went, what? Mixed in with trying to run faster, and then one of the things hit the shield, and you're just like, what?
And then, I'm over there now.
Yeah.
How did?
But I think that 2 will genuinely land in the public consciousness in a big way. I think that Namco should make sure that they get Dark Souls onto PS Plus for February.
Yes.
And I think that they should... I think it would be in their interest for them to try and get it onto the Games on Gold thing on Xbox Live as well.
Yeah.
Or at least sort of have a deal that people can't really turn down. But if people have got it more or less for free, I just think it's in their interest for Dark Souls 2 because if people love it,
I just think that week's going to be amazing if you're an invader.
I'm just wondering if I get like Dark Souls 2 for review, so I can just be the most hateful person in the world.
Yeah, me too. I'm hoping that I get a review as well. I don't care if I get a review copy. I'm still keeping the one I've bought. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, damn right. Well,
give it to someone.
No, I'll be putting mine on the shelf of joy.
No. If I get a review copy and I get the one I bought, I'm going to give it to someone because I need to spread this around.
What? You're going to give the review copy away?
Yes.
Okay.
Easy. Mm. Not my real copy. Don't be stupid.
Oh yeah.
Don't be silly, sir.
But I think I might have to get the 360 version for the comic, which sounds incredibly crazy to pay 40 quid for a comic, but.
Well, I'm probably the only person who disagrees with that because, I don't think 40 quid for a particular comic that is one of its, you can't get anywhere else. I don't think that's actually that bad.
Well, I'm essentially saving about 30 on the game anyway, but by getting that Amazon deal that we snare early on.
I might put the 30 quid that I saved on the game maybe towards some sort of snacks that I can eat without leaving the front room. Perhaps a piss bag.
I was going to say, midget gems are always great.
Yeah.
You never understand, like, Yanks that sort of have, like, Cheetos and stuff. Like, licking your fingers and then touching the gamepad.
Totally. Like, what monster does that? You want midget gems? I said, that's a weird Amazon checkout list, isn't it? Midget gems and a piss bag. God, it reminds me of the best one I ever saw. I was in Tesco, a local Tesco, and it was late night, and we looked over, and there was a man buying snowballs, those coconut biscuit things, and condoms. Snowballs and condoms. It was wonderful.
It's great when you do that correlation of what their night is going to be like. I remember seeing somebody that was buying that sort of hair gel with the bubbles in that was famous in the 80s, and toilet roll. Just thinking like, so what did you do last night, Barry? Oh, well, I had a shit and did my hair.
Partly as well that you can't buy toilet roll on its own because it looks like you need a shit right now. You cannot buy. I have never been in a shop. I never, ever been able to buy toilet roll on its own. Even for work, I've had to go in and buy myself like a Mars bar or like some washing up liquid or something because it just looks like you need to shit right the fuck now.
That just makes it seem worse if you're buying like washing up liquid and toilet roll.
Then you need to wash up, but you pick some toilet roll up while you're there. If you're just buying toilet roll, it's the only thing you need.
No, the version of that in my head was much, much worse.
Oh dear, that's disgusting.
But Dark Souls 2, I've taken the week off for that.
I think I might have to do that as well. Yes, tis a busy year next year, but I'm sure I can squeeze a week in March. Yeah,
of course you can. It killed you if you were at work that week and I've been like, oh my god, got past the boss on such and such a bit. You were like,
I've got past the 9th boss. I'm like, I've not started yet. How are you supposed to grow up?
Different.
Take out ships. You can board them. If you successfully
him, to understand him, he's got quite far. And I've been at work.
I don't even know how to respond.
It is not fair.
Christ. Enough.
Souls Inspired by Dark Souls is available this Monday.
From JML. No, let's not.
No, it wasn't the JML voice.
No, it wasn't. It was close though.
No.
But that was our list of what I think probably at least 15 games each we mentioned there of things we're looking forward to for next year. The games of the next year, and it's official. We've announced it. The game of the next year is Dark Souls 2. Nothing else is going to be better than it. So sorry, other games. Good try.
Yeah.
But you were all wrong.
And there's also the thing that I think with the release of that they've got the PS3 and 360 versions coming out immediately, which means that PC owners may well have to dip sooner rather than later because they can't resist the launch. Then they'll buy their own version, and then Namco will announce PS4 and Xbox One versions, and if they release those maybe about Halloween time
with new Bartorius of the Babis content.
No, I think they'll just go for the shiny versions.
With that,
I think the Americans are not the Americans. The Japanese are getting some pre-order weapons as well, aren't they?
They are.
Which aren't any more powerful. They just look a bit
different.
Yeah.
They're prestige.
So, I don't mind that.
That's fine. I'm okay with that. Like, visual stuff, I'm fine with that. It's stuff that will break the game that annoys me. Yeah. But that's a whole other conversation.
Absolutely.
Because this is turning into Twin Humanities, and we've got to be careful here.
Yeah, we have to. Yeah. Anyway, please check out Twin Humanities. Dark Souls' second best podcast.
Yes. Thank you for listening to our lovely little show that we try and do, because we would talk about this stuff anyway, so we thought we might as well let you lot listen. Mm-hmm. You can find us in various places. On the Twitter, we're at Twin Humanities. I am at Paddy Stardust. He is at Coffee Jesus with a Z as the first S of Jesus. Coffee Jesus. You can find us on the Tumblrs, which is Twin Humanities podcast.tumblr.com. The Humanities podcast.tumblr.com. And for everything we do is twinhumanities.tumblr.com. Is that right?
You're very, 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 very well done.
Yay! I remembered all the addresses. Mm-hmm. Thank you very much for listening. Let us know what you think the best game of next year will be on the internet. And we might talk about it next time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next time, we'll talk about what we got for Christmas.
Yep.
And we'll see you all on the flip.
Yep. Cheer, bye.
Bye.